to be from the launch stage, where there was some really good energy around it, and I was super excited. I launched it to the world, and literally one of the first emails I got back said, why doesn't it do this? And I never considered doing this, and it was this great idea. And I realized at that point that I built this software in a vacuum, and the rest of the journey didn't go any better. It was kind of all downhill from there in the wrong way. So a gentleman named Christian Anderson had helped me build Quipple. He wasn't responsible for it not working out, but he was certainly responsible for helping me get it off the ground. And when he and I talked, when I told him I was going to shut things down, I thought his reaction was going to be, Max, we've worked so hard on this, I'm disappointed you don't have more grit. But his actual reaction was, these things happen all the time. And this just means you've learned something that you can now apply to the next thing. The fears that motivated me to start Quipple were still there when I started Lessonly. I almost think they were heightened because I felt like this time, messing up twice, that's data. You know, messing up once is an anecdote. But if this guy can't get something off the ground 2 times in a row, I'm done. So a year and 3 months into the business, we have 10 clients. We're paying contractors to develop the software, and I'm, as far as I remember, taking very little if no money. And Mike Fitzgerald, a founder of Lessonly and a board member, says, we should hire a salesperson so you can focus more on product. And my thought is, we're losing so much money. Why should we hire anybody? Like, are you crazy? We ended up bringing a guy named Connor Burt on the team. I think if we would hire somebody different than Connor, who didn't have the gusto and the grit and the hustle, I might have forever been burned around trusting people to help me with the business. But Connor comes in and shows me that somebody can be so much better at something than you ever imagined, and if you let them free and you trust them, they do great things. Setting the stage with Connor, and then Mitch Causey, and then Corey Kime, Carly Sane comes into the business. There are all these people that set the precedent, and once you set that precedent enough times, it starts to stick. I think the gift that this business has given me is just a heightened self-awareness and a confidence in the things that I'm great at, and a recognition that when you're not great at something, you don't have to figure that out. You can hire somebody to do it, and that is really fun. The thing that I think excites me the most, I didn't realize was going to excite me about running a business, is I get to pick who I work with, and that is a gift. Like, so few people get to pick who they work with. And what excites me is I get to pick who I work with, and then I get to love them, and I get to work hard with them, and we get to high five together, and it's just like, come on, like, this is the life. You know, like, there's not much better than that.
Ladies and gentlemen, please set down your drinks and put your hands together for your host for the evening, co-founder and CEO of Lessonly, Max Yoder.
Well, that was very nice. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I have seen some of my favorite musicians here, so it's really cool to be on the stage. There's no music coming out of my mouth, though, so I apologize if you're disappointed. If you guys were listening to that video, it was pretty clear that I am a huge proponent and fan of this city. A lot of you guys out there have helped me in many, many ways, and have helped Lessonly in many, many ways. And that's one of the things that I think this place does incredibly well. People who do well in the city help other people do well in the city, even if those people can't help them in any immediate fashion. And I appreciate that about this place a lot. So I'm going to be your MC tonight. Matt Hunkler is here, but he couldn't make it out to the stage. If you've never been to Verge, I'd like to tell you how it works. 3 pitches are going to happen. Each pitch is 5 minutes long. I'm going to be timing the pitch, and when we get to 0 seconds, if that person doesn't feel like they're wrapping it up, I'm going to clap slowly, and I would appreciate your help clapping slowly. It's a polite way to say you got to get done, because we've got 4 advisors who are going to be out here listening to the pitch and asking questions afterward. And we've got to keep a tight schedule. Thank you guys all for being here. This was made possible by a few sponsors that we're going to show off tonight. I'm going to roll the first video, and then we'll get started with the first pitch.
Salesforce Tower Indianapolis is open and ready for business. We are proud and honored to help celebrate the new tower in Indianapolis, the tallest building in the state of Indiana. We're excited that Salesforce will open Indianapolis home to the largest hub outside of their global headquarters in San Francisco. Placing itself at the heart of the economic transformation
All right, guys, so I'm gonna have to ask you a favor. We're gonna need some attention. We're gonna have some conversations after this event, but in the meantime, it would mean a lot to me, and definitely a lot to the presenters who, I've been a presenter at this before. It is so much nicer when the people in the crowd are doing this instead of this. So I would love it if you guys would do them that service. We have 4 advisors who also need to listen, and I'd like to introduce them now. The first one is now working as a technology investor, advisor, and board member. He was the former CEO of Salesforce Marketing Cloud, Scott McCorkle. And our next advisor is joining us from New York City. She's the founder and CEO of Pantegrion Capital. Welcome, Alicia Surrett. And our next advisor is near and dear to my heart. He is a man named Don Aquilano. He is a founding member and managing partner at Alos Ventures. He sits in on all of Lessonly board meetings. Let's give it up for Don. And I had the pleasure of meeting this last guest backstage. She is the CEO of Startup Angels. She's coming here from DC. That's Washington, DC. You guys have heard of Washington, DC. There's things going on there every day. Some of them bum us out. She's not one of them. Leslie Jump. So as I mentioned, it's pitch time. We have 4 advisors. They're going to be asking questions at the end of the pitch. This first person who's pitching, I wanted to call them pitchers. I asked Matt, that doesn't sound right when I say pitcher. He said they're presenters. So that was a good call. Synonyms are very helpful. I thank you, Matt. I'm going to welcome our first presenter. His name is Chris Palmer of BoxFox.
Aside from donating it,
Can you narrate?
leaving it in their basement, they need solutions. They just are not financially healthy. And one of the major reasons they lack financial health is very poor management of their inventory, specifically their old, dated, overstocked product. BoxFox started in 2013. A local friend of mine that owned a sporting goods store that was going out of business. And he had no options after running a clearance sale for how to get rid of the remainder of his inventory. So I stepped in and brokered a deal between him and another business, and it went extremely well. Both parties were happy, and then I figured out that there are actually 700,000 similarly sized small and mid-sized retail companies with the same problem of just limited ways to move surplus merchandise.
Hey guys, I'm Chris. I'm so glad to be here, and I'm just thankful that you guys came out as well. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, though. Have you guys seen how many people are dying out there? It's like a graveyard. And what I'm talking about is friends like this. Yeah, that was like one of my favorite stores. They're gone, no more. And like this. I nearly cried. This was really bad news for Indianapolis. And this. So 2017 is officially the retail apocalypse. But it's not just the big brands. It's actually small operators as well. So the small guys, they're dropping like flies just as fast as the big ones. And the question we have to ask ourselves on all these companies is why? Is Amazon seriously slaughtering everyone so badly? Yeah, pretty much. That's happening. But there are a variety of reasons that this is all happening. And the one that all of these bankrupted companies now share is poor inventory management. This is a clearance table on that slide previously. We've all seen them before. Basically, a retailer throws a bunch of stuff on a table, marks the price way down, and hopes that it sells real quickly. Sometimes it works, but more often than not, it doesn't turn out that way. Let me introduce you to a friend. This is Ron. Ron is a stellar dude and a good friend. However, he's a lot of clearance product. He runs a sporting goods store that runs around $1.5 million in revenue. But when Ron has too much clearance inventory that does not sell, he just literally drives to Goodwill and drops it off. This costs Ron $50,000 in losses every year, and so many other stores just like his. Collectively, US retail has $250 billion in overstock inventory every year, and their solutions aren't sufficient. They mark it down in the store, which only works to an extent. They return it to the vendor, but that's limited. There are caps. They also donate it, like Ron does, but it's kind of like throwing money out the window. And then the last thing is they try to sell themselves online. But this is extremely tedious, distracting, and it almost always breaks vendor contracts. What's left is billions of dollars of unsold, aging inventory. But thankfully, we have rallied a team to save the day. Before tackling this problem at BoxFox, I started 5 years ago an e-commerce business called SupplyKick that today is a thriving 8-figure business. Michael sold a previous company for $10 million, and collectively our team has decades of experience in retail, e-commerce, software, and marketplaces. I'd like to introduce BoxFox. BoxFox provides a B2B platform where businesses can buy, sell, and appraise their overstock retail inventory. We have software algorithms that automatically identifies what someone has, promotes it on our marketplace, and looks up over 80 million items. So we've got a catalog that's very deep. All we do as a marketplace is we facilitate trades between businesses. We never touch any inventory, but the value we provide is we give a retailer that's selling product a way to reduce their inventory level, recover cash quickly by selling their products in bulk to other businesses. So it's B2B trade. The way you upload inventory for sale is either by a list on our website or use our iOS app to scan the barcodes. The iOS app identifies products, appraises them, and then allows you to automatically list them for sale. We're funded by 10% transaction fees on every order. We also manage shipping between parties when they're buying or selling bulk goods. And we just recently implemented SaaS revenue as well for advanced analytical tools requested by larger customers. These now make up actually 20% of our company's revenue. Our sellers sell footwear, clothing, toys, games, electronics, all categories with an emphasis, though, in sporting goods. As a multi-sport athlete, it was a natural starting point, and it's a big market. Our buyers are across the world, and they're in a mixture of online, offline, and liquidation-type companies. We have 10,000 businesses on our platform in just over 2 years of being live, including 1 out of every 5 running stores across America. We've transacted over $10 million in retail value of products. We have raised this $1 million seed round from investors like Paul Singh, Mark Hill, and founders of Finish Line. We were named Innovators of the Year last year by Sporting Goods Business Magazine. We won a Mirror Award for Rising Star and first place at Startup Chile Demo Day. We'd love for you to either buy or sell with us if our platform can provide you value. Also love if you have any interest in online retail, brick and mortar e-commerce, hang out with us. I started a meetup called E-commerce Indie Monthly that meets downtown. And then lastly, our office expansion is going to have a ping pong club inside as well as a small coffee shop and bar. So we'd love for you to come play ping pong. So retailers, way too many of them are losing. BoxFox is going to help them win. Thank you.
Okay, I'm not going to get in the way of the question and asking between every pitch, but it's now time to ask some questions. And we'll just go left to right the first time, and then we'll go right to left the second time, and then we'll go left to right once again.
Chris, great presentation. So as you were presenting, I was wondering, you know, the sellers, the people who have the extra goods, okay, the buyers, are there a sea of buyers just out there trying to connect to these sellers? At first I was thinking, you know, how many buyers would there actually be? But
yeah, the biggest buyer that everybody's probably heard of, not on our marketplace, but in this category is TJ Maxx, Marshalls, okay. Ross. So those are huge discount stores that buy huge volume. We've had no problem finding buyers. It used to be that we had more sellers than buyers, but now buyers outnumber sellers twice.
Great.
So Chris, great delivery. I was watching the presentation and you kind of went through all the big things I would have asked you about. I clearly understood the problem and I got the market size and the business model, and I loved hearing about the team backgrounds. The question I'm sure you get quite often, and I'd love to hear more about, is What are you doing that nobody else can easily replicate? What's your competitive advantage?
The network that we've built has been impossible to do with just technology. It's been through regular relationship building efforts at trade shows and visits to people's cities. So one of the customers up there that's actually a seller is the largest Amazon seller in all of America. And that relationship was only possible by me visiting them on the West Coast and really getting to build a relationship. So relationships are highly defensible, as well as nobody else does the appraisal piece, the Kelley Blue Book of retail. It's easy to create a marketplace for buying and selling, but if nobody knows what anything's worth, it's really difficult to do successful deals.
And she was checking off all the boxes. So
Good.
with respect to these retailers, they must use some sort of POS, inventory management. Maybe the more sophisticated ones are using sort of price optimization or markdown optimization. Who do you integrate with to make yourself really sticky? It seems like that's a logical integration step for you, but I'm curious as to, is that on your roadmap? Is that something you do currently?
The first two on our roadmap are one here locally in our backyard called Rick's Software, and then another one called Lightspeed. Together they have close to 30,000 retailers on their platform. The problem is data can be really a bird's nest sometimes, and so integrating is not an easy task. There's just been lower hanging fruit for us, so we're not currently integrated with anyone on the point of sale level, but it's one of our fastest ways to scale up the company by tapping into somebody else's existing customer base and being native in the screen that these retailers are looking at day in, day out. We've got the ability to throw notifications and say, hey, this product is 90 days old. It's worth $2,000 on BoxFox. Would you like to sell it now? So that's down the road for us. It's a great direction to head, but we're not currently accomplished any of those integrations.
So it feels like you've got two major market segments, small independent businesses and then maybe larger businesses that are franchises of larger corporations. Small businesses are notoriously hard to market to. How do you scale up from where you are with that?
We've recently taken rather than a sales approach where we have to win a prospect every time, we've taken a one-to-many approach by leading webinars and having more of our own content and then earning press in the right places. We win at this game if every player knows about us, not just if a little subset. We really need the entire retail industry to know that we exist and to trust us as a platform for trade. So we put a recent emphasis on generating content that's going to be shareable across retail influencing sites.
Let's give it up for Chris. I am not a very fancy dude, but I have never built a $10 million business in shorts. And he makes it look good. It fits him perfectly. Thank you, sir. I have, however, stood in front of a group one time, and I thought it was going great, and when I was walking off the stage, somebody started walking after me, and I was like, that could be good, could not be good. And he said, Max, thanks for coming on stage. Your fly was open down the whole time. So I was sitting back there thinking, let's not do that again. But we're all set. Word from our sponsors.
Media is a national PR agency that has been a long-time staple of Indianapolis sensing, getting their clients covered by the media far and wide. Last media specializes in
It's a commercial.
content creation,
Brought to you by.
hustle, dedication, deliver results.
I wanted to ask them why Chile. Incubator. The government in Chile spent a lot of money.
So I really regretted calling Chris out on stage, and then, oh, so sorry. Continue.
Yeah.
Sorry.
These are like no pressure environment. It's like a supportive crowd.
Exactly right. A little bit go wrong.
If it does, it's not on our end.
All right. I regretted calling Chris out on stage because he had to stand there and watch his own video. So we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to watch another video from our next presenter. Chris is an Indianapolis guy. This gent is from Cincinnati. Let's hear about him.
We're in the midst of a data revolution. In any sort of revolution like this, there are going to be winners and losers. We call it digital Darwinism. Organizations are under assault by these tech companies, and if they don't move quicker, they're going to die. I saw personally how open source technology has revolutionized different areas. For data pipelines, it's still somewhat untapped. The space is dominated by legacy technologies that are hard to use and very expensive. So I think there's a huge opportunity to create a modern platform with a great experience. There's a new field called data engineering. So we're building a platform to make them faster and be able to scale their work out in an easier way. So ultimately, we're helping them, but they're working for organizations that want to win with data. And so, we view ourselves as not just helping those individuals, but helping the whole organization climb the data maturity mountain and win with data. I've been a data geek and a software developer my whole life. Data engineering is a perfect blend of both of those disciplines, and luckily this is a perfect storm where now's the time where this is becoming more important than ever.
Let's welcome to the stage from Cincinnati, Rye Walker of Astronomer.
I'm just really glad I'm not wearing the same shirt that I was wearing in the video. So I'm Rye Walker, CEO of Astronomer. We're out of Cincinnati, and things are going to get a little bit geeky right now, unfortunately. Our stuff's kind of technical. Yay! Thank you. So we're trying to make it easy to build data pipelines. Next slide. So what are data pipelines? Not everyone knows what I mean when I say that, but it's basically when you're if you look at something and type data into Excel, that's a data pipeline, but it's very manual, and a lot of people are doing it that way still. When I say data pipeline, it's automated software that's moving data from some source to some destination, usually with a lot of volume. And this is important because there's a rise of data science, machine learning, SaaS is creating a lot of data silos. And it's affecting really all areas and all industries and all divisions of companies. So companies are hiring data scientists to try to capitalize in this data revolution. The challenge is 80% of their time is spent on data collection and data preparation, which isn't really what the employer hired them for. So our vision is to try to get them some of their time back. And a new role's emerged called data engineer. It's a younger sibling to data scientist. Like a data scientist, they write code, but unlike a data scientist, they write good code.
That's nice.
Prove me wrong. So, the state of the art right now in ETL are these drag and drop tools that are really creating spaghetti code. Nobody likes spaghetti code, especially modern open source developers. We like our test-driven development. We like our command line, text editor, and GitHub. So this isn't really the answer. Companies have spent a lot of money on ETL, but with this new revolution and we need to be more agile, it's not the answer. A lot of tools have emerged with funny names. I could go through them all, but I'm not going to. The challenge is they're very technical, and most companies don't have the talent to use them yet. A few companies in the Valley, the unicorns, they're using them well, and in fact, a lot of the technologies that we use come out of those big tech companies. But companies are trying anyway, and they generally have this thing they call a data hub, and it's held together with duct tape. They don't have the right people. They can't get the people who can build this infrastructure. They also don't have processes to automatically build data pipelines. So, Astronomer is a platform. We have 3 editions. The first is a simple SaaS platform. Makes it really easy to build ready-to-use data pipelines. Set up in 10 minutes. Analysts and business users can set them up. The second edition is Astronomer Pro, and it's a developer experience. It starts around $1,000 a month, and it lets people build data pipelines the way Ruby on Rails and Heroku revolutionized web development 10 years ago. And then finally, we have Astronomer Enterprise, which costs around $100,000 a year. It's not cheap, but we put it inside of our customer's environment, and it gives them a great starter kit to do this stuff right. So it's all built on one standard base platform. And again, this is pretty technical and geeky, but Mesos comes out of Twitter. Apache Airflow comes out of Airbnb, and Kafka comes out of LinkedIn. So we have these best of breed open source technologies powering the system. We've got, we're a 2-year-old company, 50 people. We've got some great customers and partners already. Opportunity is very bountiful. And every day we're pulling more customers in. And so, we basically feel like there's an opportunity to build millions of data pipelines, perhaps billions of pipelines are going to get built over the next few years. Our job is to reduce the friction, make it easier for people to get them. And, with that, we think we have a great opportunity to build a billion-dollar company. No idea.
There are 2 microphones, and you did a great job. Really great job. What is a Cambrian explosion is my one question.
Anyone know? That's when...
well, if it's a long, not great answer, you don't need to tell us, but it sounds interesting.
Look it up.
Okay, cool. All right. To you guys. Yes, we'll start at the end.
Okay, is this working this time? Good. Do you focus on any particular sectors? Because different kinds of data can look pretty different and come from different sources.
Yeah, we do. I mean, we have a lot of insurance customers and retail. Basically, where data science is becoming popular is where we become popular. But really, when you get down to it, moving data from SQL Server to SAP HANA, it really doesn't matter the details of the data. We don't get in and understand the customer's business logic. We're just building infrastructure, and it's up to the customer to really understand their business and how their data works.
Actually, building on that, my fear for companies that have everything that you've built, which is wonderful, is it's a bit of a do-everything machine, which is good and bad. Do you have replicable use cases that you're sort of leaning in on, whether it's customer segments or otherwise?
Yeah, and those are the tools that we're building into the SaaS platform, the self-service tool. So, for example, almost everybody's trying to get data from Salesforce into their data warehouse, and so that's a very repeatable process. We've completely automated that, and bottom line is, we are trying to do a wide angle, but we're very shallow. We don't do any data storage, we don't do any analysis, and we don't do any visualization. So it's only transportation.
I love seeing all the customers and the traction that you have up there, and it was really helpful also to see the pricing offerings that you have. This is a big question, and I think especially relevant for people that have very strong technological backgrounds, but with the sales and marketing side, and especially given all the different customer offerings you have and the price differentials, how have you attacked that whole function? And we didn't hear too much about team backgrounds, so was it a matter of bringing in outside people and divvying up the different customer segments, or what's your sales and marketing strategy?
Yeah, so we have the $10,000 a year product that's really designed for inside sales. The $100,000 is more for outside sales. And they're very complementary. You kind of, as you level up, you kind of move to the next stage. So we've designed it to be a sort of a funnel, an adoption funnel. So we have even really big companies. We have Fortune 50 companies using our basic platform because someone in the company has a really basic need. But then we've expanded that deeper into their org.
No, but specifically, how are you building those relationships with the customers? What's the strategy? We have half outbound, half inbound. So we do a blog post every week, pretty religiously. They come out on Wednesday. That's created a lot of inbound interest. We run some ads as well for those common pipeline scenarios. But we also have an outbound team, 3-person outbound team that's just, we have a target account list of 1,000 companies, and we're just trying to meet the right people inside those companies.
You've emphasized a couple times that you're just moving the data. There's no logic, no analysis, just point A to point B. Is that by design? Do your customers want you to layer any context on top of that so you can listen to particular events or make some meaning of the data?
Yeah, very much. They want us to do everything, and we have to tell them a lot of times, like, that's not our cup of tea. We're partnering with a lot of data science consultants who basically don't want to do any of the stuff we do, but they want to do everything once the data arrives. So there's some really natural synergies with a lot of different organizations out there.
Guys, let's give it up for Mr. Rye. Great work. Great work. Thank you. So the third pitch, I don't think it was publicized, and that was on purpose. Before we get to it, we're going to do one more bit from the sponsors. They're important.
I took a picture. I'll post it later. I should have done a pen. Do you make a lot of angel investments?
Yeah, that's most of what I'm doing now. Yeah, it's fun. It is fun.
So I gotta thank you guys. The request that was asked of you at the beginning has been heeded, and that makes.
He does it again.
I'm just gonna act like this isn't happening. Sorry.
Yeah, I love it.
What are you going to do?
It's a lightly produced.
Good. There you go.
This is a low weight
You're
produced.
learning your
You know,
lesson.
it's kind of casual.
Your lesson, you got interrupted.
It's authentic.
It is there. That's a perfect word. That's a perfect word.
So do you ever visit New York and the business there is pretty
Funny,
much
when I go there, I play for most times.
okay?
I mean,
The best thing to do is
when I moved to Connecticut, we had a beautiful place there. After a long week of commuting into the city, I didn't want to go there anymore. So now I go to Chelsea, Hamilton, I get there almost before meeting with the makers. So every day, we take a couple times, I take a couple of times. Yeah, I love the work you guys are doing.
Yeah, I was going to say the next time you're in town, shoot me an email. And if it aligns with the New York Angels meeting, you should just come and check it out and meet a bunch of people.
I'm not going anywhere. There we go. All right. So I was just asked if I'd learned my lesson, Lee, about the sponsors, which I thought was very cheeky and very good. And the answer is, we'll see. Sorry about that. Two really good pitches. You guys are here for those pitches and then one last one. The last one was a secret on purpose. There's a video about our last presenter. There's a new business that's coming out, and we'd like to show it to you.
I became an entrepreneur because I was really excited about the idea of building something from the ground up. Literally manifesting something almost magically out of like purely your thoughts and desires was really cool to me. And once I realized that a business is something that can kind of live on beyond you, I kind of poured my heart and soul into it. I was really struggling with this e-commerce business I had started, and I couldn't find the advice, the mentors, and the capital to continue to grow the business in the way that I wanted to. And it was in getting these people together to give me feedback, while at the same time giving feedback to their businesses, that we really formed that nucleus of what eventually became Verge. The thing about this community that's captivated me from day one is that feeling of making a genuine connection. It's about not just me making a genuine connection with someone else, but for me, I get the most energy out of finding two people that really need to be connected and making sure they meet. You know, you guys should be co-founders together. Or you know what? You need to really invest in this entrepreneur. Connecting the dots that need to be connected. For whatever reason, I'm just like internally wired to make connections like that. And this community is the vehicle that gave me that opportunity at scale.
I'd like to welcome to the stage a good friend of mine, Matt Hunkler, for our third pitch.
Wow. We need the whole stage for this. What a crowd. They all came for you guys. If you can hear me, say yeah. All right, cool. Just want to make sure this thing was on. This is not going to be a normal pitch because I actually want to start with a story. And that story, I talked a little bit about it in the video, and it's really about coming to Indianapolis. Started my company right when I moved to Indianapolis. And this community that kind of formed around it is kind of want to tell you how it all came together, because I was working on this e-commerce business. It was very lonely. Sound familiar? Working late nights on a project, on an idea. It was lonely. I didn't know what the next step was. I couldn't find e-commerce experts. Now I know a ton in town. At the time, I didn't know who the e-commerce experts were. I didn't know what the next step was. And it wasn't until I met some friends and asked them to get together that I started to get a little bit of traction. We just started getting together, sharing our ideas. And if you're a local here, you will recognize that that is High Alpha partner Christian Anderson with a mohawk.
I didn't even recognize him.
Presenting what is now Octave. Literally, this is 3 months after having the idea of that. You'll also recognize in the back here one of our presenters from earlier this evening, Mr. Chris Palmer, who presented Box Fox tonight. I think you were fresh out of college, Chris, when you were here, probably just fresh out of Purdue. This nucleus of the community has grown, and it grew because of sharing. It's because we all were willing to share what we were working on, share our feedback, just the way that our advisors are doing this evening. And the cool thing is, we started sharing, and it grew. The more we shared, the more our products evolved. They either evolved faster or they died faster, which, as we all know in the startup world, super important, that if it's not viable, the startup dies quickly instead of a slow and painful death like my e-commerce business did. So the cool thing is, the more we shared, the more we understood how to connect with one another. And we grew. Like, we really grew. So much so that we turned back to the title slide. There we go. We really grew. And what's amazing is we grew because we all have our own superpower. We all have something to give. We give our energy, we give our attention, we give what we're uniquely qualified to do, what we were put here on this earth to do. I believe all of us have that. And maybe take a minute, think about what your superpower is. Because I know you all have a superpower. Because this community wouldn't be here without people like you. Literally every good idea that makes Verge what it is came from the community. The idea of the slow clap, someone just started doing that one time and everyone chimed in, and it became the new way we applauded people off the stage. Stickers on the name badge. Don't slow clap me yet. Stickers on the name badges. Everything to even having advisors. Advisors who would actually give feedback live right here and get the investors engaged with the community. Everything to having a fireside chat presenter, having technology you could demo, not just to geek out on, but talk about what that next product idea could be. What could a business model be wrapped around that new technology? The fireside chat presenter was a pivotal one. It was catalytic, because what we found out is the fireside chat thing doesn't really work with a standing room only crowd like this. People get antsy, they want to have side conversations, they want to drink beer, they want to connect, right? We want to share our superpower. But what we found out was that fireside chat was perfect for a podcast. And last November, we launched a podcast. We were really fortunate to have some amazing presenters right off the bat. Right here, very first episode was said High Alpha partner, Christian Anderson. We were able to reach globally to some amazing entrepreneurs and investors. You guys gave great reviews, you guys subscribed, and we reached a whole new global audience with this brand Powderkeg. So much so that we were able to get bigger and better speakers, including ones joining us here on the stage today like Alicia, including our MC, Max Yoder, and including other Cincinnati entrepreneurs like Rodney working on Listener in Cincinnati. We were named top podcast to listen to in 2017 before it was even 2017. And it's not because we're awesome, it's because you're awesome. I want to say thank you. Because I want to announce a confetti blast. We nailed it. We nailed that. Verge is now Powderkeg. And Peter, I'll dust your hair off later from all that confetti. Thank you, brave soul, for being in the front row. Verge is now becoming Powderkeg. This is our new global brand, not just to signify a change, but to signify that we are, for the first time ever, developing a product. And now that is the pitch I'm going to deliver to you right now. You ready? All right, cool. Because you're going to be a part of this, and you're going to be a part of this too. All right, so let's kick this thing off. These same things that happen, I'm going to go back a slide really quick. As Verge has scaled, the way it has scaled is literally by each and every one of you helping connect the entrepreneurs in this room, helping connect other entrepreneurs in this community, helping connect the professionals, the investors, and it's all happening in our inboxes. It's happening in our inboxes, it's happening at events like this, maybe it's happening on social media around some of the media that we're publishing, and that's great, that's going to continue. But we're at a point now, we're in 8 cities, growing every day, and we can't do this without technology. We're a community for technology entrepreneurs. And what I want to announce to you tonight is that we are, in fact, as of last week, breaking ground on building technology. So I want to present to you the Powderkeg Connections platform. All right, we're going to pick up the pace, don't worry. Powderkeg Connections platform. What we are doing with this, next slide. What we are doing with this is we are going to build this with you. And what I need from you guys is I need you to have feedback. I love Scott too. I want to get your feedback as we build this thing. We're going to be as open and transparent as possible, literally building with you a startup right here in Indianapolis, Indiana, and building it globally to connect this global network. The great thing is, like I said before, all of our best ideas, it's not because we're awesome, it's because you guys are awesome. And so I want to present to you 3 of the things that are on our product roadmap. We're going to need your help to help us prioritize those as we build. I'm going to tell you at the end how you can do that. This first idea was submitted by Scott Hill, and he's kind of the champion of this. So how many of you guys know Scott? Awesome guy, right? Co-founder, CEO of Perk. Scott, where are you? I can't see. Scott, raise your hand. He's back there. All right. So Scott's back there. He submitted this idea. He kept bugging me about it, making sure that we would build something like this. And so many of you have bugged me about, hey, we need this. Hey, we need that. We're now finally prioritizing and building all this stuff. This is the Stories platform. It's going to allow each and every one of you, not just the entrepreneurs in our community, but everyone, share their story, share their lessons learned, share what you're doing, building in your company, what you're learning as a professional, what you're learning as an investor. Everyone will be able to share on this platform. Some of the features we talked about is maybe even gamifying how we vote some of these things to the top of the community. And as we vote things to the top, what we'll do is we'll actually build and gain national media coverage for those stories. So we've actually partnered with Forbes, VentureBeat, Tech.co, Inc. Maybe you've seen some of these articles already, but you'll see these start to escalate as we expose more stories. Just as they're published on all of the amazing publications that are here, we want to get them on the Powderkeg platform so they can reach a national audience so people understand the amazing things that are being built here. Our next idea was submitted by Matthew Gordon, who is the CEO and co-founder of Expected Behavior. Matt, I think I saw you over here. Right here, Matt submitted this idea. I want to give him huge props. Matt's an amazing technologist and CEO. We're codenaming this Product Share, and we're calling it Product Share because it's going to allow you as entrepreneurs or as professionals to share your product with the community and get feedback. If we all buy and use each other's stuff, we're all going to get better because we're going to be giving each other, we're going to tell it like it is. We're not going to sugarcoat things, right? Right? We had to beat that out of us in the first couple years of Verge. Everyone was like super Midwest nice. But now we're giving like super transparent feedback. The other thing that we're doing is we're able to give access to free and discounted products. I know many of us have things that we'd like to offer up and say, hey, if you're part of this awesome community, I want you to get a discount. Or even try it for free. Let me know what you think. And when you're ready, upgrade. So I want to give Matt huge props for this. I really love the idea. I think that it's going to be as simple as pulling out your phone. We actually already have some screens designed for this, and some of this functionality already exists. It doesn't have to be limited to just software products. We talked about doing software, hardware, even equipment and services. So it's not limited. If you're not a product entrepreneur, it's not limited to just that. Everyone in this community is going to have an opportunity to be a part of this. Our next idea was submitted by Haley Altman, who's the CEO of Doxley, amazing company. Haley, are you here? Haley? She must be closing a deal because she totally texted me earlier today. Haley Altman is amazing. When she moved here from Silicon Valley, she was working as an attorney for startups, and she got very engaged. And I love that Haley is the champion of this because she's been both an advisor to startups and now working as a co-founder and CEO of Doxley. She understands what it means to be in the trenches. So it's going to allow you to share your superpower. Think about what that is and engage in live conversations through Powderkeg. You're also going to get valuable connections. So what we're doing here tonight, and we do every month, it's going to allow you to do that daily and on demand. What's really cool is all of this is already being powered by artificial intelligence and machine learning, and we've developed an amazing team that's going to help us build this product together. In January of this year, a good friend of mine, someone who was actually originally my boss, I worked for him back in 2011 when he was growing his company, Slingshot, going through a massive growth year. He led it through growth from $5 million in revenue to over $11 million in revenue in that year that we worked together. And I was along for the ride and fortunate enough to lead marketing for him while he was there. But he has led marketing and content strategy for literally more than 25% of the Forbes 500 list. Fortune 500 list. He's also just an amazing seller and gets product. So he's leading this. As of literally last week, officially, although he's been helping us out for like over a month now, we brought on board a CTO, Robert Harris, 3-time entrepreneur exit, building tech products, raised millions of dollars in capital, going all the way back to getting recruited out of Rose-Hulman to start his first company with Bob Compton, if that name rings a bell, who's one of the godfathers of this entire tech community here. We were super fortunate to have Robert, and we've built some really cool stuff for you. It's not just the leadership. We've got a kick-ass team. Where are you guys? Squad. We've got an awesome team that's here to support. Get your feedback. If we don't get it through the app, we're going to come knocking on your door and ask for it in person. Trust me, we've got grit and hustle, and I love this team. We're already sharing these stories on Forbes, Inc., VentureBeat, everywhere else. We're also in currently 8 cities. We'll be in 10 by the end of the year, hosting events like this. These events will not stop, don't worry. But we're going to do something even more than that. We'll be in 25 by the end of next year. And you'll be able to follow along and attend as you're on your own travels or decide you want to go check out other tech communities. You can go and check those out. We have amazing partners, national, regional partners. These are some of them here. I'm not going to talk through every single one of these, but you know who you are. Actually, I want to give a huge round of applause just for all of these amazing partners here tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're building this with you guys. We're building this platform because we know that it's not about just the grind. It's about learning to play the game smart and play your career smart. We're doing this because it's not about overnight success. It's about just making that next step and making that the best next step. And we're building this because it's not about building something alone by yourself in a basement. It's about building things together and building things that matter and being connected while we do it. So my ask to you is, we have 3 dates. The first date is next Monday when we're doing a Facebook Live chat, and we'll be doing Facebook Live chats every Monday after that to get your product feedback live. We'll also be sharing the good, the bad, and the ugly of starting a startup and talking about product validation, talking about traction, or lack thereof. Who knows? If you guys don't like this stuff, then we won't have traction. But I think given as much feedback as we've had, given sort of the guidance that we've had with these champions on these different product features, we feel really good about this. The other date is next week. We're going to launch the entire Powderkeg site and ask for your feedback immediately. So think about it this weekend. Think about what you do. As you're in your everyday, day-to-day, think about what pisses you off. Like anytime you're feeling frustrated or feel like you're hitting friction or hitting a roadblock, write it down and literally email it to me, matt@powderkeg.com. Or any one of the people, robert@powderkeg.com. He's our CTO. But we'll actually have a feature for you to do that on the website. And then August 25th, we're going to do our live demo of this product. So we literally have a month to get this demo ready. And it's not going to be some like vaporware demo. It's going to be demo ready so that you can use it, so we can connect in between events and make sure that we are doing this ongoing. I want to say thank you guys so much for being here tonight. We have some amazing music planned for the rest of the evening. The bar is open. Their food is there. I want to give a huge, huge thank you to all of our presenters here tonight. Let's give it up one more time for all of our presenters. And I'm going to bring back our host for the evening, Mr. Max Yoder, to close things out. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight.
Okay, I don't have anything really to say other than I appreciate all you guys being the way that you were. It's super cool that you were just paying attention. Let's give it up one more time for the advisors. And if you have more than 2 drinks, take a lift. Have a good night, guys. Thank you.